let me just share with you that everything in his bio ends with either cum laude, honors, or award of excellence. So I'm going to share just a few with you. He's a graduate of the Social Communal Leadership program of Mandel Center of Leadership in the Negev, and a graduate of Bina Young Social Leadership Program for intensification of Jewish and Zionistic identity. Until very recently, he was the educational director of youth and young adults at the Federation of Local Authorities in Israel. As a commander in the Paratroopers Special Forces, he's a holder of Operational Service Award and Second Lebanese War Award. And he's the winner of the Excellence in Education Award. I am thrilled to invite to the stage Ziv Bar, the Director of Education Initiatives at Israel Innovation Institute.
תודה, מותק. As a kid, one of my favorite games was playing D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, which is a role-playing fantasy game where each player chooses his own character. I always choose the magician, not because he does cool stuff, but mainly because, although he starts as the weakest character, he has the prospect of becoming the most powerful character later on in the game. Well, that never happened. No matter how much I tried to hide behind the back of my friend the warrior, I always died young and weak. And my friends never understood how come I always choose this character who is basically trying to do two things. One, trying to survive, and two, nurturing some inner feeling that one day it will be powerful enough to make an impact. 10 years later, the scenery a bit changed. What was Middle Earth Kingdom is now Ben Gurion University. And what was the weak magician is now a frightened social worker who is still trying to make an impact. One day, a good friend of mine, Ben, came and told me, Ziv, we have an amazing opportunity. We can transform education in Netivot. I remember I was telling myself, wow, finally a chance to do something meaningful. But a couple of minutes later, I felt my stomach ache, and I understood that I'm a bit terrified and confused. Us, two young students trying to change something as big as education. So many good people have tried that before. Where to begin? But it was too good an opportunity for us to miss, so we just started working. We went to the university board and convinced them to give us scholarship and resources so that we can do our research about the student in Netivot. And we went back to the municipality and persuaded them to give us a flat so we'll have a place to live and do our activity. And finally, after 1 year of preparation, we put a huge sign in the university that said, "Changing education in Netivot. Who wants to come?" Well, it took us a short while to understand that this is truly, again, an amazing opportunity, especially since no one really cared. From 20,000 students in the campus, only 3 came to an interview. And surprisingly, we took them all in. And even from the municipality side, where we went to talk with them, there were no one who will tell us what the needs are, what the expectations are, what the situation is. But we decided we're going to do it, and we were not going to let anything stand in our way. And the beginning was a bit challenging. I remember the first meeting with Netivot CEO, armed with sparkle in our eyes, and with a mayor blessing, we shared our vision and told them that we need to have a place to make our activities. He didn't even glance when he simply looked at us and said, no. So we basically started our activity in our house, in our rooms. I had a dwarf and a warrior sitting on my bed and a dragon flying in the room. And you can watch Ben on the other room who was teaching psychology lesson, or Michal who was teaching art. And not only that, it took us ages to convince the school board that we actually have an educational value so we can work with the student. And we look so strange in the Netivot scenery that the kid gave us name. Mine was the New Zealander, which is a term for someone from other planet. But it gave us a good opportunity to understand the unique sides of Netivot. How come there are a close community of Orthodox, Russian, Ethiopians that are so disappointed from the system, specifically from the educational system, and from people who come from all over the place and tell them what to do and what to be like. And we're in a city that there are thousands of youth and kids. There are only 3 youth centers, and no one will take responsibility for the informal education system. And gradually, we developed our program. From small groups to whole class events, from holiday ceremonies to events on a weekly basis. And gradually, kids came and students came from all over town to be a part of our activities. And I remember one specific event that we aimed for the 8th graders. And basically, every 8th grader student in town had come. And at the end of the day, when the light turned off, I was so moved. For me, it was the first time in my life that I could actually felt the magic or the energy that happened when the right need find the specific solution. 4 years later, we had 9 youth centers, 78 workers and volunteers, and we even got the highest reward from the Ministry of Education. But more important than that, we felt that we managed to refine how you can do an alternative educational framework where kids and students come to learn and develop their abilities just because they want to. After a while, I told myself, if this is working so good here, why not try to do it in other cities? Why not try to duplicate it? Why not doing it on a national scale? So I wrote a letter to the Minister of Education. A couple of months later, I've got a phone call. Hello, Ziv? Would you like to work for us? Sure, I'll be happy to do that. I'm the right man for the job. By now, you know me. A couple of minutes later, I felt my stomach ache. I understand I'm a bit terrified and confused. Me trying to do something as big as education. So many good people have tried that before. Where to begin? But again, it was too good an opportunity to miss, and I'm proud of some of the things we managed to achieve. For example, we passed a law that in every city in Israel, there has to be a manager for the informal education system. And for the first time, the Ministry of Education gave a Bagrut certificate for volunteer and community service, and not only for grades or academic work. And what I learned from these 2 great opportunities, which I think can echo with you, the JFN networks, are 2 things. One, that I need something that is a bit bigger than just myself to wake up in the morning, to get out of bed. And the second thing is that exactly like being a part of the D&D group in Middle Earth Kingdom, or a part of the community in Netivot, to make a real change, you have to be a part of a larger group. You have to be a part of a community. And basically, that's what we are trying to do today in the Israel Innovation Institute. We are establishing a community of entrepreneurs, educators, investors, researchers that are engaged in developing innovative solutions based on the educational system needs. And it's just like playing D&D. You take elves, dwarves, warriors, put them on the same group, and give them tools to succeed in their mission. For that, you need to be a bit of a magician. Thank you.
Steve, one question. I hear you are also behind the organization of a group of young leaders who represent in front of the Israeli government the needs and the interests of young adults in Israel, and you're writing a white paper. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm happy that you're asking this question. I think it's an important question, and I'll try to connect it to my talk and my friend's talk. I think that we all have dreams, and I think it's even more important when you're a young adult, just because there are so many options. It's the stage where you decide where do you want to live, what to study, what you hope for a career. And in Israel, if you were a child or a young adult, if you were a child, a teenager, even a college student or elder person, there is a government policy. This is not the situation about young adults. And that's what we are trying to do. First of all, trying to characterize what should be the national government policy toward young adults, which are almost 20% of the population in Israel. And the second thing is that we are not just waiting for the government to do our first steps, and we are always thinking, what is our role in shaping the future of Israel? And like you said, one last sentence, as you said before, next month we're going to finish our first draft. We're going to spread it in our communities to get feedback. And we believe that this document, this white paper, will be the base for our working program for the young adults movement and a better and refined a story of our generation.
Amen to that.
Amen for that.
תודה.
Thank you.